Hello and welcome to another New Catholic Generation movie review. I am David from Catholic Contrast, joined by Joseph, the Catholic apologist, Cindy from Fire of the Spirit, and Ned from Parables of the Film Industry. So, we just got back from seeing The Case for Christ, Purefix's latest film. What'd you think, Ned?
Purefix, you disappoint me. I was supposed to leave pissed off and angry and rip your movie to shreds, and you give me a quality movie? What the heck, Purefix? I'm very disappointed.
So during our I'm Not Ashamed review, you said Purefix was this close to earning your respect.
Literally this close. See, that's a very thin line.
Did they do it?
No. Excuse me. Let me put it this way. It gained my respect for this movie. They still have too much garbage for me to have full respect for them. But this movie, I actually felt like I was watching a movie. I didn't feel like I was watching a propaganda film. So, yeah, I was actually very happy and content with your movie.
I'm just gonna sit here like, come on, man, be nice.
No, I'm not nice. I'm the harsh film critic.
Okay, so basically, bottom line of this story is it's based off a true story of the
Lee Strobel.
Lee Strobel, who wrote The Case for Christ. Basic story plot: he and his wife are atheists, and they were raised kind of with a little bit of a Christian background, but then they veered away from that and were just living a normal, stereotypical 21st century atheist lifestyle, whatever. Just
20th century.
20th century at this time. Thank you. And then they have a child. There ends up being a small accident. Their child, she almost dies, but then there's this nurse there that saves her. And from that nurse was a Christian.
We're so lucky. Well, it's not luck. It's Jesus. My husband and I were on our way to another restaurant tonight. Something told me I need to be here.
Lee Strobel's wife ended up converting to Christianity, and he's really distraught by it.
I talked to Jesus. I told him I want him in my life.
You what?
He wants to take apart Christianity. He wants to go and do so much research that if Christianity is false, then all the research will show it, and she'll have to change her mind. But if not, then he'll have to, concede the evidence. But he doesn't think that's going to happen. So he goes through this whole process where he's interviewing people, flying to California, going to Indiana, wherever, Wisconsin, to try and find, experts in the different fields he's talking about, specifically on the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Ends up not being able to prove, actually finds so much evidence to the contrary, more than you can imagine.
Here's my reasons why I liked it. It felt like I was watching an actual, drama movie. There was no secret agendas. There was no nothing. It was just a pure, simple story of a man who was just struggling with his overall life, and that struggle just so happened to be Christianity. It was good quality. The acting during many times of the movie was good quality acting. Cinematography was very good. Very good. I loved the color grading, the costumes, music. Excellent. The music was definitely excellent in this movie. It was very well made, and I was very, very impressed with it. Curse you, Purefix.
Cindy, what did you think?
Like you said, I actually was thinking at the exact same time you were saying it. I felt like I was actually watching a drama.
Yes.
And you didn't have that agenda, like you said, pushed in your face. And I was sitting there and I was like, if I wasn't here purposefully to critique the movie, I would really be really enjoying myself. And kind of get lost in the whole movie experience.
Joe, what did you think?
Well, I know I went into this movie kind of as, I want this to be good, and if it's good, I'm going to say it. I didn't really have it in I really want this to be or I really think this is going to be good, or really think this is going to be bad. I just kind of went in and was just I've heard a lot of great things about it, and I'm hoping that's going to be great.
Show me what
but
you
if
got.
not, show me what you got, basically. And I have to admit, at the start of the movie, especially the start of the movie, the dialogue was a lot of different points. I was kind of it felt very Purefix. I felt a little bit of God's Not Dead, atheist-wise, peering in there, But I think because this was a true story, it ended up showing through, and the movie just got better as it went along.
Yeah.
I really, especially at the very end, really, it meant a lot to me.
Okay.
Overall, I very much enjoyed this movie. There were parts of it that did definitely need some work, but overall, I pleasantly surprised and grateful.
Yeah, for me going in, I was very interested to see what they were going to do with the adaptation specifically of the book, because I had read the book and it focuses very little on his actual life.
Yeah.
Almost all of the book is just either him retelling stories of when he was the Chicago Tribune journalist, or he's with his interviews with all of the biblical scholars and historians and the doctors and everything else. And I think it's a little bit ironic, given one of the lines in the movie where Strobel's character says, "This is all feelings, I'm about the facts," to his wife. The book, The Case for Christ, is all about the facts, pretty much. This movie puts the facts on the back burner a lot to focus on the feelings. And I think that's where it actually succeeded in a film medium, where you get to see a person's face, see a person's emotions, have that come across in the acting. That's what the movie format is really better for, telling, as you said, this one man's journey to discovering Christ. And not what some other films will try to do with, like, creating a drama out of a debate. Which I think is one of the problems with God's Not Dead, is like, if you make the entire crux of it just debating on a podium, that's actually, I feel like that's better for a book, because you can look at the lines, you can highlight stuff. For a movie, it's about what's the journey that it took to get there.
That's right.
And as other people have said, the acting was well done. Mike Vogel, I have to admit, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, he's this like guy who was like used to model for Levi's. He probably won't be very good. I was legitimately impressed.
I was very impressed with his
Yeah.
acting. I was actually quite blown away in some of the parts of the movie, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotional appeal.
If I'm going to criticize something, though, it's that at the end of the movie, they start showing some real-life pictures of Lee Strobel and his wife and his kids. Now, throughout the film, Mike Vogel as Lee Strobel has this big, long, flowing hair and this glorious mustache. And in the photos of Lee Strobel when he was young, I did not see any mustache. That was inaccurate.
That's actually, I just realized, that mustache was glorious. That was just like, I'm just like, dude, you got stash, let's go, you go. The big reason why I love this movie, I think I was, during the I'm Not Ashamed review, I think I was talking about, like, because it was based on true life events and stuff like that, I was kind of comparing it to The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch. And when I was watching this movie, I'm like, this is the Christian version of The Imitation Game that I was desperately looking for when I was watching I'm Not Ashamed. And the reason why is because, I think I explained this in the I'm Not Ashamed review. The Imitation Game is about, I always forget the guy's name.
Alan Turing.
Alan Turing, thank you. He was very instrumental during World War II and cracking the Enigma code. If you guys all know, he was actually a homosexual. In the Imitation Game, it didn't really focus on the fact that he was a homosexual. It was just like, okay, that's just a side note. It's a fact. That's what it is. Blah. There you go. And honestly, they handled the subject material very well. In this movie, I felt like it was the same thing. There was no agenda. It was just me following the story of this man's journey to trying to find out more information about the life of Christ. And if I was going to go for an overall theme of the movie, it was more a journey of just self-finding. It wasn't a journey of, I gotta prove Christ is real, I gotta prove Christ is fake, I gotta do this, blah, blah, blah. It was a very emotional journey of a man who was just lost, and he was trying to re-find himself. And that's why I liked it so much. One of the things that I actually adored, and I have to admit I really identified with Lee Strobel, was honestly how jealous he was of God when it came to, like, his wife. And
You're cheating on me with Jesus.
You're cheating on me with Jesus. I was there for the wedding. I'm sorry I wasn't there for the wedding ceremony.
I mean, but it is totally true because, if you're in a secular relationship, you are the most important to each other in your lives.
It's a marriage of two, not of three.
Yeah.
Right, and so when it becomes a marriage of three, then there's a new figure in the marriage that is at first very foreign.
Yeah, and to be a little bit honest, even though I am, at least I like to think I'm a devout Christian anyway. I try to be. There have been times during my relationship where I sometimes maybe get like a little bit like, maybe a little bit too Jesus freaky on me, but this is mainly just like a weird jealousy kind of thing and whatever. But I identified with that, and that made the character even more real. And obviously, yeah, like you said, it's a marriage of three. It's not a marriage of two. And he eventually came to that realization. It's just like, no, she's not cheating on me with God, cheating on me with Jesus or whatever. She still loves me, and that's.
And what she said in the car, just like, my love for you has actually grown stronger.
Exactly.
Because of my love for God.
Yes, exactly. And that was a very beautiful scene. I was a little bit upset that Lee was kind of a jerk, but you either have to pick me or Jesus. I'm like, wow, that's hardcore. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, Lee Strobel's certainly got some humility going around and like actively promoting himself because he's a massive jerk for most of the movie. Honestly.
Yeah, I was honestly impressed that he was just a jerk. Like he went on full rage drunk mode in a few of those scenes.
Oh yeah, when he comes home drunk that night and just is like, yelling in front of the kids and like throwing the vase, that was,
that was good. That made you feel. That was intense.
I think especially in that car conversation they had after they got back from their little date that they took because they knew their marriage wasn't going so well. They were talking, and that was it. This kind of had to do with the part at the end that really impacted me. She's talking and saying that I felt something, so incredible, and he's like, you're going along your feelings and not going according to the facts, because like if you look at it, as far as this movie portrays, I haven't read or I don't know the documentaries, I don't know, how much they just couldn't include or whatever. In the movie, she didn't actually go through and investigate. She went more along the lines of, I'm feeling this and it feels so real and I'm going according to that. So when he's saying you're going off of feelings, you're not even talking about whether this is like factually real or not. He's making a very legitimate point where she probably should have done a little bit more research. Like, this is a major life decision because it's not just about the feelings.
Right.
But that's what he also wasn't getting on one side, because he was kind of like, all the facts, but he was completely saying, oh, feelings, like, not only do they have, he's saying, oh, you can't even use it, but like, if you have feelings, that could like discredit you. That was one of the things that he was saying.
Yeah, that was very good.
Which I found kind of interesting, because his situation with his father was had played a big part in his life, and him being an atheist, so he kind of had that feeling aspect in a different way. And that kind of later on showed, tangent here, but it kind of later on showed that the feelings, they can they can be an influence on deterring you from something, or make you think more about it, regardless of whether you're thinking more about atheism or thinking. I know from personal experience, somebody very reliable that you can have things happen in your life, and those things make you really question your faith. Not even just the facts, but just like a matter of just like feeling so down because of something. It can make it can give the possibility of questioning what you believe, but at the same time they can make you think instead. It depends on how you use it. But anyway, going back to it, that was kind of like the thing. They were both on kind of like extremes, but at the very end, when he's sitting on the couch and telling her, I was going through trying to do absolutely everything I could to disprove this, and everything I found just proved that you were all right. And then what he said next was what impacted me. He was like, but it wasn't just that. You kept loving me throughout the entire thing. All throughout, the pain I was. He didn't say that exactly, but the pain, it wasn't just the fact. And I love how that specific phrase, it wasn't just those three words.
It wasn't just.
Because so many times I hear, even Catholic speakers all the time, one extreme or the other. It's, they'll be talking, giving a talk, I mean, from having given talks before, I kind of understand, like, you use this kind of formula to emphasize what you're saying. But basically, I'll hear stuff like, there's all about the rules and everything, but you know what it's really about? I was just like, careful, no, hold on. Truth, facts, extremely important. They don't go alone, but they're extremely important, and you can't just be like, oh, they're kind of on the back burner. We're just like, these are things, because then you make people think feelings, and especially when you're saying love. On the other hand, the portrayal we're seeing right now when we're reviewing the Young Pope, at least in the second episode, he's kind of like, but there's no love in his heart at all. It's just like, no, what are you doing? You know, it's you can't ignore the feeling part. It's all of the above. You know, our faith is so much more than one or the other. It's, faith and works, scripture and tradition, all these both and. You can't eliminate good stuff because God is all good, so he wants all the good stuff. So, that particular phrase was, the facts, researching this was so important, but it wasn't just that. It was the entirety of the Christian message. That just, chills. I was just I was drenched in chills.
Yeah, I liked how they were like the two extremes, but they kind of balanced each other out at the end too. So it's a good witness to marriage too, because sometimes you're not always compatible with your spouse, but you gotta work through it together and find a balance.
Yeah.
I think if there were a few things that I felt a little weird about or would criticize, there are a few aspects of his investigation which felt a little sort of one-sided. One was his fact that he's going out trying to disprove Christianity. If I were trying to do that, I would immediately go to all the experts who already agree with that side and be like, all right, give me the way to spin this. I wouldn't go to all the people on the other side and try to immediately attack them because I'm not the expert. I would be, outgunned. So on one side, he's going and personally interviewing all these Christian experts, and his atheist side of his investigation is books that his atheist friend is giving him. So I'm like, well, I mean...
In fairness, though, he does actually go and talk to someone who is an atheist.
He goes to one skeptic,
Why?
and when he gets to them, he's like, oh, finally a skeptic. And it's like, well, you're going out and interviewing these guys. Why didn't you go to skeptics before? Sounds like those would be the first person to go to.
That's a little bit weird.
But yeah, I mean, the other issue I have with that scene is this is where for the most part, you don't get a feeling of the agenda. The one part I felt like, okay, you're trying to have an agenda is where, actually when he's talking to the skeptic in that scene, and she starts talking about oh, let me guess, you had all these issues with your dad.
Yeah.
And let me name drop all these famous atheists. They all had issues with dad, saying that having daddy issues makes you an atheist, which was just
that was kind of unrealistic.
I think
another agnostic wouldn't say.
It's out of place.
There was. I think it was more like an offhanded comment more than an agenda.
It's just sort of keep it to this guy because that's who you're focusing on.
Yeah, exactly. That was off, but yeah, I definitely agree. One of the pieces of dialogue I just was just disgusted with in this movie was at the very beginning when this is after the daughter gets saved, and the nurse who winds up saving the daughter's life, starts talking about Jesus and stuff like that. So when they get home, they're tucking their daughter in, and she asks, "Mommy, Daddy, who's Jesus?" And then of course, the mother kind of tries to explain it, rationally, in a real sense, because Jesus was a real person, obviously. But then, the father just immediately comes in, "Oh, all those fairy tales that we read you? Yeah, it's kind of like that. And we're atheists. Well, I guess that means I'm an atheist, Daddy." And I'm like, what? I mean, that was just some of the cringe-worthiest dialogue I heard. I mean, the thing is, though, the situation seemed realistic, but the dialogue was just way off. It was just so off.
Well, I didn't have a critique, but I had something that really stood out to me about the movie. I liked the two, not two storylines necessarily, but how he was following those two different stories, and that led him. They paralleled each other, and it finally led to his ultimate discovery of self. He didn't want to see the answer in both instances, and I just thought that was really cool how they paralleled it. So So.
Yeah, that was another thing they added in. I was like, oh, so that's how they're doing it. So he's the reporter at the Chicago Tribune, and a subplot of the film is he's investigating this case where a police officer is shot, and originally he views that this guy accused of shooting him is extremely guilty, and actually breaks a news article that pretty much condemns him. But later he learns that the police officer was trying to play him, and it was actually the opposite conclusion, that the police officer had an illegal weapon on him that accidentally discharged on himself. And the guy who ends up, getting wrongfully condemned and then beat up in prison, when Lee Strobel's character visits him in the hospital, you finally get the payoff of that whole subplot where he looks at him and says, you just didn't want to see the truth, which is where he's at in his journey, where he's been interviewing all these people, and he's starting to feel that there may be enough evidence for him to actually believe the resurrection, but he really doesn't want to.
Yeah.
All right, final verdict.
I'm giving it a 79.
Okay.
Not quite a B minus, but I really appreciate the effort that they put into this movie. Like, it still had some of the crummy stuff that just kind of just gets under my skin in Christian movies, but overall, very well made movie. Very well made movie.
Out of 100, I probably would give it an 85, just from my personal perspective, having seen.
I'm kidding.
Not a film student.
I know. It's all good.
Compared to other Christian movies,
Absolutely.
I've seen, definitely way up there in quality, and the acting was really good.
Absolutely.
Like I said, it almost made me cry at some point, especially that last scene. It was really compelling, especially in the emotional draw, and they didn't overdo it, and that's what really stood out to me. So.
Well, don't give her the funny look, because I'm also going 85%. Mainly because... mainly... Don't worry, I have your back. But, mainly because there were some things that you were talking about of being cringeworthy, and just not so great dialogue, or what you were saying, and just you probably needed to go to a few more atheist sources. But as far as going by the movie itself, what the conclusion of the message was for Christians, what ended up being what impacted me so much, kind of with Silence, they had so many good things, but then this one really bad thing at the end of the message just took it so far down for me. As I would grade this a little bit lower, just a little bit more lower than an 85, because that message was so impactful. I bring it up to an 85.
That's very fair.
Yeah, there was definitely some stuff to work on, but I was really appreciative of that message.
If you give it 100.
I actually am probably going to give it the lowest out of all you guys.
Okay, phew.
I'd probably give it 70 out of 100.
Okay.
Because, as far as quality of the film go, definitely the highest quality film Purefix has done, or at least distributed, with cinematography, acting, script writing, as we said, needed a little work, but overall it was a quality production, which I think is reflected with it actually has a positive score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as far as his investigation goes, there were a lot of cool sort of like geeky moments that you can get. Like they show P52, which is the oldest example is a fragment from John that we have. There's a few other little Easter eggs in there that you'll recognize if you study that sort of thing. But as far as the arguments go, it's a movie. You're not going to get a solid argument from a movie script.
Yeah.
You just don't have the time to really develop that. So don't go into the movie expecting to actually get the case for Christ in it. If you want that, read the book. If you want to read Lee Strobel's full account. If you want his emotional journey, you will actually not get that in the book. That is what you will get in the movie. So that is what I would recommend. If you want to see that, this is the movie for you.
I have to agree.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and we hope you will see you back here again for our next movie review. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Fare thee well.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up and go to the comment section to let us know what you think. Also, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can be notified whenever we upload a video. Also, be sure to follow us on our social media accounts. Links are in the description below. Finally, be sure to follow us in these final few days of New Catholic Lent. Use the hashtag Post Your Own Reflections on Instagram or Facebook, as well as check out our reflections that we're posting daily. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day, and God bless you.